behind years of silence finally emerged when Riley Gaines stepped forward with allegations that could shake women's sports to its foundation. The former NCAA swimmer turned advocate has built her career on defending women's athletics from what she views as unfair advantages. And now her attention has turned to one of the WNBA's most prominent figures. When Gaines made her latest public statement, the implications sent shockwaves through basketball circles and reignited debates about competitive fairness, league policies, and the future of women's professional sports. The controversy she's unleashed threatens to divide fans, players, and officials in ways that could fundamentally alter how we understand gender categories in elite athletics. Riley Gaines has established herself as one of the most vocal advocates for traditional gender categories in competitive sports since her swimming career at the University of Kentucky. Her activism began following her experiences competing against transgender swimmer Leah Thomas in NCAA championships, where she tied for 5th place in the 200-meter freestyle. Since graduating, Gaines has dedicated her platform to speaking at universities, conferences, and media outlets about what she describes as threats to women's athletic opportunities. Her organization, the Riley Gaines Center, focuses on protecting what she terms Title IX rights for female athletes. The center advocates for policies that would restrict participation in women's sports to individuals assigned female at birth, arguing that biological advantages create unfair competitive environments. Gaines has testified before state legislatures and appeared on numerous national television programs to discuss these issues. The former swimmer's advocacy has made her a polarizing figure in sports discussions. Supporters view her as a courageous defender of women's rights in athletics, while critics argue that her positions contribute to discrimination against transgender athletes. Her social media presence includes over 800,000 followers across platforms, giving her significant reach when she addresses controversial topics in sports. Gaines's transition from competitive swimmer to full-time activist represents a new generation of athletes who use their platforms to influence policy discussions about gender in sports. Her background in NCAA competition provides credibility when discussing competitive fairness, though her positions have generated significant debate within athletic communities. Questions arise about how Gaines's advocacy might influence broader discussions about gender verification, league policies, and the future of women's professional sports, as these debates continue evolving in the current political and social climate. Brittany Griner stands as one of the WNBA's most dominant and recognizable players throughout her career with the Phoenix Mercury. Standing 6 feet 9 inches tall, she has redefined the center position in women's basketball through her combination of size, athleticism, and skill that has made her one of the league's most successful players since entering in 2013. Her statistical achievements include career averages of 17.7 points, 7.6 rebounds, and 2.8 blocks per game, while shooting 57.8% from the field. These numbers place her among the most efficient and productive players in WNBA history, with her shot-blocking ability and interior presence making her a transformative defensive player. Griner's impact extends beyond individual statistics to include team success, as she helped lead the Phoenix Mercury to the 2014 WNBA championship, while earning Finals MVP honors. Her 8 All-Star Game selections and multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards demonstrate sustained excellence throughout her professional career. The center's international profile increased dramatically following her detention in Russia from February 2022 to December 2022 on drug possession charges. Her release in a prisoner exchange with the United States brought significant media attention and highlighted the financial pressures that lead WNBA players to compete overseas during the off-season. Griner's personal life, including her marriage to fellow WNBA player Glory Johnson and later to Sherelle Griner, has made her one of the league's most prominent LGBTQ+ athletes. Her openness about her sexuality and advocacy for LGBTQ+ rights have made her an important figure beyond basketball. The WNBA operates under policies established by the league office in consultation with the Women's National Basketball Players Association regarding player eligibility and participation requirements. These policies align with international basketball governing bodies and Olympic Committee guidelines for women's basketball competition. Currently, the WNBA requires players to be legally recognized as female and have appropriate documentation supporting their gender identity. The league's approach follows established precedents in professional women's sports that focus on legal recognition rather than biological testing for gender verification. The league's diversity and inclusion initiatives emphasize creating welcoming environments for all players, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, race, or background. These policies reflect broader organizational commitments to equality and representation in professional sports. WNBA medical protocols include standard health screenings and drug testing procedures that are consistent with other professional sports leagues, though specific details about gender verification procedures are not publicly disclosed by the league office. Sports analysts note that professional leagues typically develop policies in consultation with medical experts, legal advisors, and player representatives to ensure compliance with applicable laws, while maintaining competitive integrity and player safety. The broader context of gender policies in professional sports includes ongoing discussions about fairness, inclusion, and competitive integrity that affect multiple leagues and sports organizations worldwide. These conversations involve complex considerations about biology, identity, legal recognition, and athletic performance. Recent developments in sports science and medicine have provided new insights into the relationships between biological factors, gender identity, and athletic performance, though experts continue debating how these findings should influence policy decisions in competitive sports. Legal frameworks governing gender recognition and anti-discrimination protections vary significantly across different jurisdictions, creating challenges for professional sports leagues that operate in multiple states and countries with different regulatory environments. International sports organizations, including the International Olympic Committee and various sport-specific federations, have developed evolving guidelines for transgender and intersex athlete participation that influence policies at national and professional levels. Questions arise about how professional sports leagues balance competing interests of inclusion, fairness, legal compliance, and competitive integrity while navigating rapidly changing social and legal landscapes surrounding gender recognition and athletic participation. The intersection of athletics and gender identity has become increasingly prominent in public discourse, with high-profile cases in various sports generating significant media attention and policy discussions. These conversations often reflect broader social debates about gender recognition, civil rights, and institutional policies. Educational institutions, professional sports leagues, and recreational organizations have implemented various approaches to addressing gender identity questions in athletic contexts, with policies ranging from inclusive participation to biological-based restrictions, depending on organizational priorities and legal requirements. Medical and scientific communities continue researching relationships between biological factors, gender identity, and athletic performance, though translating research findings into practical policy applications remains challenging due to the complexity of individual variations and competitive contexts. Legal challenges to various gender-related policies in sports have created evolving precedents that influence how organizations develop and implement their participation guidelines. Though court decisions have varied significantly across different jurisdictions and factual scenarios, sports psychology research indicates that inclusive environments generally promote better mental health and performance outcomes for all athletes, though debates continue about how to balance inclusion with competitive fairness concerns in elite athletic contexts. The WNBA's approach to player advocacy and social justice issues has been prominent throughout the league's history, with players and organizations taking public positions on various political and social topics, including racial justice, LGBTQ+ rights, and gender equality. Player activism within the WNBA has included support for political candidates, advocacy for social causes, and public statements on policy issues that extend beyond basketball. This tradition of engagement reflects the league's culture of empowering athletes to use their platforms for social impact. The league's partnership with various advocacy organizations and its support for player-led initiatives demonstrates institutional commitment to social justice causes, though these positions sometimes generate controversy among fans and stakeholders with different political perspectives. Media coverage of WNBA social activism has generally been positive within sports journalism, though broader public reactions vary significantly, depending on the specific issues addressed and the political orientation of different audience segments. Questions arise about how player activism and league policies interact when controversial topics emerge, and whether institutional positions might influence how individual players express their views on sensitive subjects related to gender, sexuality, and competitive fairness. The financial landscape of women's professional basketball includes considerations about fan engagement, corporate sponsorships, and media partnerships that can be affected by public controversies and policy debates related to social and political issues. Corporate sponsors of women's sports often prioritize diversity and inclusion messaging in their marketing strategies, which can influence their relationships with leagues and players who take public positions on gender-related issues and LGBTQ+ rights. Television broadcasters and streaming platforms that carry WNBA games must navigate potential audience reactions to social and political content while maintaining relationships with league partners and advertising clients who may have different perspectives on controversial topics. Fan engagement and attendance figures can be affected by public controversies, though the WNBA's core audience generally supports the league's progressive positions on social issues, including LGBTQ+ advocacy and gender inclusion policies. Sports business experts note that women's professional sports often depend more heavily on values-based marketing and fan loyalty than traditional sports metrics, making social and political positioning particularly important for long-term commercial success. The role of social media in amplifying sports controversies has created new challenges for leagues, players, and advocacy organizations, as viral content can rapidly escalate local discussions into national debates with significant commercial and competitive implications. Athlete safety and mental health considerations become particularly important when players face public scrutiny related to personal characteristics or identity factors that extend beyond their athletic performance and competitive achievements. Professional sports organizations have developed various approaches to supporting athletes who face public criticism or controversy, including mental health resources, media training, and legal support when necessary to protect player welfare. The intersection of competitive athletics and personal identity creates unique pressures for professional athletes, particularly those who become symbols or representatives for broader social and political movements beyond their individual career achievements. League policies regarding player conduct and public statements must balance institutional positions with individual expression rights while maintaining team chemistry and competitive focus during seasons that require intense preparation and performance. Questions arise about how professional sports leagues can protect individual players from harassment or discrimination while maintaining open dialogue about policy issues that affect competitive fairness and participation opportunities. The evolution of gender-related discussions in professional sports reflects broader social changes and legal developments that continue influencing how athletic organizations approach inclusion, fairness, and competitive integrity in their policies and procedures. Future developments in sports science, medicine, and legal frameworks will likely continue affecting how professional leagues address questions about gender verification, competitive fairness, and participation requirements for various categories of athletic competition. The precedents established by current policy debates and legal challenges will influence how future generations of athletes, advocates, and organizations approach these complex issues that intersect athletics, civil rights, and competitive sports. International perspectives and policies regarding gender in sports continue evolving as different countries and cultures develop varying approaches to balancing inclusion, fairness, and competitive integrity in their athletic programs and professional competitions. The long-term implications of current debates about gender in sports will likely extend beyond individual leagues or sports to influence broader conversations about equality, fairness, and opportunity in competitive contexts throughout society. If you're as interested in these important discussions about fairness in women's sports as we are, go ahead and like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. How do you think professional sports leagues should balance inclusion with competitive fairness? What policies would best protect opportunities for all female athletes? We want to hear your perspective on these complex issues that affect the future of women's athletics. Then, hit subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss our coverage of sports policy debates and the evolving landscape of women's professional athletics. Thanks for watching.